The following is an excerpt of Toussaint Louverture's proclamation after he had received the colonial constitution of 1801 from the General Assembly. The new constitution of the colony of Saint-Domingue was promulgated at Cape Haitian, or Cap Français, on the 8th July 1801. General Toussaint, who has been invested with the authorities of governor under the new order of things, after being presented with a copy of the Constitution, addressed the inhabitants as follows: Liberty, equality, French Republic, people of Saint-Domingue. The colonial constitution for this important island had just been handed out to me by the General Assembly, composed of legislators who, in virtue of my proclamation of the 16th Pluviose, have met to establish laws which are to regulate and govern us. I have read that constitution with great attention and persuaded that it will ensure the welfare of my fellow citizens. Being founded on good morals, on localities, principles of religion, I approved it. But when I consider that I am charged with the execution of these constitutional laws and see that my task is more difficult than that of the legislators has been, nevertheless, I announced that however vast and spacious this undertaking may be, I will do my best to go through with it. O you, my fellow citizens, of every age, of every station, and of every color, you are free, and the Constitution, which is on this day remitted to me, is to render that freedom eternal. Let us, in the first place, prostrate ourselves before the Creator of the universe, to thank Him for a blessing so precious. It is my duty to speak to you in the language of truth. This Constitution assures to every individual the enjoyment of his rights. It requires of every citizen to practice the virtues as it calls within our climate the right of good morals and the divine religion of Jesus Christ. Therefore, then, magistrates, serve as an example to prove the people of whom you are to consider yourselves the fathers and the defenders. Let probity and righteousness guide your actions and dictate your sentences. You will secure to yourselves the esteem of your consolation which a man in office can desire. Brave military men, generals, officers, subalterns, and soldiers, observe discipline and subordination. Give activity to culture. Be obedient to your chiefs. Defend and maintain the Constitution against foreign and domestic enemies who might endeavor to damage it. Let your motto always be bravery, and your guide, honor. You will deserve well of the country. Cultivators, avoid indolence. It is the mother of vices. Guard principally against the seduction of men as ill-intentioned as malevolent. You will at all times find in me, as well as the generals, my representatives, the repressors of injustice and abuses, industrious inhabitants of the towns, be submissive to the laws. They will not cease to be your protection and your guide. People, magistrates, and soldiers, I lay before you your duties and mine. For me, I promise, to the face of heaven, to do whatever will depend on me, by the permission of God, to preserve our union, peace, and public tranquility, and consequently, the happiness of my fellow citizens. I promise to execute what is presented to me by the Constitution. Swear to me in like manner before the Supreme Being that you will submit yourselves to those laws which are to ensure your happiness and consolidate your freedom. Citizens, I inform you that the law is the compass of every citizen, that when it speaks, they must yield obedience. The civil and military authorities are to be the first to submit to them and to give thereby an example to the people. Follow from point to point the Constitution which the General and Legislative Assembly of Saint-Domingue has just presented to you, and may the sublime principles it has just consecrated remain eternally engraven upon your hearts. At all times, my dear fellow citizens and friends, my desire, my wish, and my ambition consisted in finding and preparing the means to render you free and happy. If I can attain such an object so dear to my heart, I shall not regret life, and I shall go without any remorse to render an account of my actions to the Almighty God, the sovereign author of all things. Live forever the French Republic and the colonial constitution. The General-in-Chief, Toussaint l'Ouverture.